Hi, this video is about behavioral artificial intelligence from IMC. It's all about understanding clients using big data and consumer insights. We like to call this approach scaled insights. A little about me, I'm Stuart Sherman and I'm the CEO of IMC. My background is in industrial psychology, specifically behavioral economics and organizational behavior. A little bit about IMC. We have offices in Toronto, London and Leeds in the UK, Changsha, China, and New Delhi in India. We've been around since 2004 and we're an IBM Premier Business Partner. Specifically, we're IBM Watson's lead partner in Canada and the Caribbean. We're about 100 people around the world, and we've actually created a new category of AI that we call behavioral AI. Now, in order to understand about behavioral AI, I think we need to do a little framing. And that will help you if you can understand these three concepts. Everything else we talk about will make a lot more sense. So the first concept is big data, which you probably learned about if you took a Psychology 101 course. That big data is really the act of predicting future actions based on people's past actions. So you're using a large data set to understand actions and forecast and predict. Now, the contrast to big data is consumer insights. And companies use focus groups, all sorts of net promoter score, voice of the consumer products, all sorts of things like that. And what they're trying for there is to understand consumer motivations and maybe even more specifically, how to influence future behavior. The last concept to cover is what we call neurolinguistic pattern matching, which is a category of NLP, or natural language processing. What this means is that we take sources of natural language, whether it be a Twitter feed or YouTube video or email or a recorded phone call, and we run it through a neurolinguistic pattern matching engine, which we have our own custom built based on Watson, but using a lot of custom technology and other AIs. And we're able to extract from between 300 and 500 words your personality as derived through 130 different variables, each one on a scale of 1 to 100. This actually rolls up to the big 5 if you're familiar with that, but it can actually be looked at as independent variables as well. Now, just for fun, we ran this against my Twitter feed, Stuart Thinks, and we grabbed out a bunch of data. These are the most significant markers for me. I have a type A personality, I'm assertive, I'm also well-adjusted. Based on my overall personality, we were also able to come up with a machine-derived communication recommendation. And it's specifically how you should communicate with me for best results. Now, if we can accept these, we can go on and tell you a story. This is the story of the happy turkey, which is actually a story about predicting the future. Now, it starts with a baby turkey, and the turkey chick meets the farmer, and the farmer feeds it and takes care of it, and the turkey chick feels love from the farmer. And as the turkey grows, its love for the farmer grows, and that love is actually based on observable actions, the farmer feeding and taking care of it. But the farmer also praises the turkey, and that praise adds to the love that the turkey feels. Now, unfortunately, every story about a turkey doesn't really have a happy ending for the turkey. About 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, the turkey is in for a bit of a shock because the farmer's motivations start to become much more evident. It leaves the turkey wondering what happened. Now, what actually happened was the turkey was forecasting based on the actions that it was observing the farmer taking, and that was feeding, praising, and taking care of it. However, the farmer's motivations to having a happy turkey is a big fat turkey that sells for good money. So observing actions alone wouldn't help the turkey in understanding what was going to happen in the future. What the turkey really had to do was predict the motivations of the farmer if the turkey could see inside the farmer's mind, it would understand why it was being treated the way it was. And if it could understand why the actions were being taken, it would have a whole new insight into the process. When we look at this in context of companies, we notice something very important. Typically, a company will have literally truckloads of big data, all based on past actions that consumers who have interacted with the business have made. They also have small samples of consumer insights, which is based on net promoter scores or focus groups or some form of interaction with small groups of their customers that helps them get a general sense of how their customers believe or think, their motivations. In between the two is a massive sea of humanity, which is very poorly understood, and yet companies use big data to try to predict the waves in that ocean. What we're suggesting is a very different approach. We suggest that behavioral AI is a bridge, and it can actually bridge big data with consumer insights and provide deep understanding of consumer insights at scale, at the scale of your actual big data. How does it work? Well, we start with inputs, social media, call recordings, emails, chats, outputs from chat bots, even court transcripts, depending on the circumstance. What we're able to do with that data is typically that data has been considered dark data. It's unstructured, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's stored in MP3 files or backups of mail servers or just the Twitter feed of the company and who's following it. But that data is, although dark data, it can be converted using our neurolinguistic pattern matching algorithms. It can actually be converted into spreadsheet quality data, where it's actually numbers. We're reducing human personality down to numbers. And once it's been reduced down to numbers, we're actually able to map that back to existing big data and look at it in conjunction. So then we can machine learn the balance between personality and the big data. Once we've done that, we're actually able to create predictive algorithms. And those predictive algorithms give us what we like to call scaled insights. Where are we doing this? Applications of BAI that we currently have underway are in insurance, both in property and casualty and life and health, and general underwriting and insurance. With wealth management, we're looking at it in terms of matching advisors to clients. And not only that, but helping advisors better understand the clients so that they can maximize their service and quality and actually the relationship between the advisor and the client. We're looking at it in terms of law enforcement and working on some very large projects around watching terrorists and people who may be becoming radicalized. And we're working with several municipalities, but in addition, some large companies as well, to better understand employee sentiment and how to better manage employees and how to make sure that the employees are getting what they need in return. We're also using it in retail, in grocery, where typically in the grocery industry, stores are categorized into large, medium, or small. And we're actually looking at it and saying, what's the constituency of the neighborhood? What are the personalities of the people living in that neighborhood? And what other neighborhoods do those stores map to? And are they optimizing based on the nature of the store and its constituents, as opposed to the fact the store has a certain number of square feet? We're also using it in CPG, and there we're looking at how to understand the consumers and their motivations, and how to find more and where to find more, and how to test message resonance. Overall, we take a pilot's approach to running a pilot, and we always start with a pilot. When you explain this from the perspective of an airline pilot, if you were flying from North America to Italy, for example, you wouldn't actually fly across the Atlantic Ocean, because if something goes wrong halfway across the ocean, there's nowhere to land the plane. It's considered high risk. So typically what happens is that they'll fly over Gander, Newfoundland, and then over Greenland and Iceland and Ireland and England and on to Italy. Each place is a place you can safely set down the plane, and therefore no harm is done if something goes wrong. We like to look at our pilots this way, where we start with machine learning and understanding and deriving using NLPM the personalities of people and mapping that back to big data. Ultimately, what we're hoping is that the data will become conclusive and we'll be able to build an AI that will, at scale, do something that will actually add value immediately to the corporation. But in the lowest case, we try to make sure that every step in the process provides fantastic insights that will be useful to the corporation, regardless of the data being totally conclusive or not for its ultimate use. Thank you very much for your time. Please feel free to reach out to us. My name again is Stuart Sherman, and my email is ssherman@imcba.com. My phone number, and I'm based in Toronto, is 416-444-2468. And we welcome you to reach out to us and chat with us about what kind of data you would like to get and how we could design a pilot that would help you. Thank you.